Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we try to make sense of company filings so you don't have to. And let me tell you, this is going to be an interesting one because it's not just about money, it's also about stock and a whole lot of it. So BLUM Holdings Incorporated dropped to Form 8K not too long ago, and it looks like they were busy on the 13th of November 2025 with a whole bunch of stock issuances. Now, normally a company might issue stock for a good reason, like raising money for a new project or rewarding employees. But this filing shows a company that is really doing a lot of shuffling around with its shares, and it makes you wonder about the underlying reasons and what it means for the company and its investors. Let's dive right into it. The company issued a whopping 1,530,612 shares of its common stock to a company called Adnant LLC. Now, Adnant LLC is identified as a related party, and the shares were given to them as repayment for accounts payable totaling $1.5 million. This was done according to several agreements, including one from August 2022 and another from January 2025. But wait to read more on the same day, the 13th of November 2025, BLUM Holdings Incorporated issued another 2,482,308 shares of common stock to Adnant LLC. This time it was under a debt conversion agreement from December 2024. This agreement sounds interesting because it says if BLUM Holdings can get a better financing deal with another company, Adnant can ask to have their deal changed to match those better terms. It wasn't just Adnant LLC getting shares though on that busy November day. The company also issued 84,337 shares of common stock to various vendors for services. Provided this is a pretty standard way to pay for services, and it shows the company using its stock as currency to settle its obligations. Then things get even more complex. The company issued 1,809,270 shares of common stock to the previous shareholders of Safe Accessible Solutions Incorporated, and another 1,702,352 shares of common stock to the shareholders of Coastal Pine Holdings Incorporated. These were given as an amendment fee related to some other agreements from May 2024 acquisitions. And mergers often involve stock as part of the deal, and these specific issuances suggest the companies are integrating or restructuring parts of their operations. And the stock giveaways continued on the 13th of November 2025. Another 434,783 shares of common stock were issued to the sellers of UWC Resources Incorporated. These particular shares will be held back until a deal to acquire 100% of UGC Resources Incorporated is finalized, and they are subject to a 12-month holding period. After that, a significant portion of UWC Resources is expected to be owned by BLUM Holdings. Finally, the filing mentions that on that same, the 13th of November 2025, BLUM Holdings issued 3,633,540 shares of common stock to the sellers of Green Door Redding LLC. And these shares too will be held back until the company closes on its deal to acquire 80% of Green Door Redding LLC. This is all part of a binding term sheet from July 2025. So what does all this stock issuance activity mean? Well, on one hand, it's a lot of shares changing hands, which can sometimes dilute the value of existing shares for the investors who already own them. On another hand, it shows that BLUM Holdings is actively pursuing growth through acquisitions and strategic partnerships like the ones with EWC Resources and Green Door Redding. It also shows a willingness to use its stock as a form of payment, which can be very useful, especially if cash is tight. The press release also talks about their fiscal third quarter results ending the 30th of September 2025, but that's a separate announcement furnished with this filing. The key takeaway from this filing is the sheer volume of stock movement happening on a single day. It suggests a company in a very active phase of its development, potentially consolidating or restructuring its assets and liabilities, using its own shares as the primary tool. Looking at this, we see a company that is definitely making moves. Now, for an unbiased take, while using stock to settle debts and fund acquisitions can be smart and conserve cash, it also means that if these deals don't pan out as expected, or if the stock price drop significantly, it could put a strain on existing shareholders. The fact that so many shares were issued on one day for various reasons, including debt repayment and acquisitions, is a strong indicator of a company undergoing significant transformation. A business strategy heavily reliant on stock issuance could be a double-edged sword. It offers flexibility, but carries risks if not managed carefully. If the value of these acquired businesses or the services they provide doesn't live up to the stock issued, then existing shareholders could be left holding the bag. The company appears to be actively trying to grow and expand its footprint, which is a positive sign, but the method of using stock so extensively warrants careful observation. We will need to watch how these newly acquired entities perform, and how the debt and equity structure evolves to get a clearer picture of BLUM Holdings Incorporated's long-term success. Alright, that is our breakdown of BLUM Holdings Incorporated's latest filing. What is your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments if this analysis was valuable hit. Ting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching, see you next time.